Well, hello peeps. So today we got some Demon Hunter tunings to talk about and some extras. Now right away I gotta say that Blizzard is doing exactly what I expected him to do and what I didn't want him to do, which is 3 to 4 tunings of DPS before they actually realized Demon Hunter right now needs survivability. Now I called this out on my first video on Demon Hunter tunings that was released on September 24th. So yeah, it's been almost 2 full months since that video. You're welcome to watch it again, but long story short, the main thing that I say is please do not give us 3 to 4 patches of DPS tunings only to then realize survivability is what we need. This just risks making Demon Hunter overtuned once you actually do the much needed survivability adjustment. It also makes it much harder to find the actual balance for where Demon Hunter survivability should be. For Demon Hunter, actually damage is also part of their survivability kit because leech is a big part of our survivability. So I find that it's much better to just give the Demon Hunter the passive defense buffs right away and then actually tune for damage. Now as far as the tunings goes, everything other than emulation or damage being increased by 20% I feel like is a meme. Demon Blade damage might be something with Ardorachi River, but Fell Blade damage increased by 20% also I feel like it's just gonna be meh. Like the only thing out of this that might have an effect is probably emulation aura. And again, as we discussed, my main issue is that this does not address our survivability one bit. There's absolutely no unnerfs from Season 4 of Dragonflight. Worst thing is the passive defenses is something that we were just asking all throughout the Dragonflight. We finally receive it in Season 3 and Demon Hunter is just absolutely overtuned, and I absolutely understand why they had to nerf it, but at this point, like, just unnerf those nerfs, man. So really not much to discuss other than emulation or damage being increased by 20%. I feel like that's definitely gonna be felt, but I also don't feel like that is really like gonna change the story of Demon Hunter in PvP that much, especially since there is no defensive tunings, no defensive buffs. Now there is some good stuff as far as some other tunings are considered, but as I said in my comeback video to the channel, I just don't like making tunings videos anymore just because I feel like they are, generally speaking, usually very bad. There's some good adjustments here, but again, I just want to make tunings videos fully anymore, so we're just gonna address Demon Hunter here. Now, there is a few additional topics that I want to discuss. First is gonna be, why does the Conquest Cap get released so late? This is something that I discussed earlier in one of my War Within videos, but I think the PvP side of the game would really benefit from having gear released earlier. Now, there's a few reasons why I think this is a problem. First of all, I think we actually received our gear slower this time around because there was no vault, and if you were actually really lucky on the vault, you would have basically more gear at a certain point in the kind of season. Another reason is I feel like we would get to test out our full classes much earlier. There's many classes that benefit from having more gear, more stats, and there's many classes that also benefit from having its 4 set or 2 set. So I feel like this though somewhat prevents us from testing out the full class earlier in the season, or knowing what our full class is in the season. And the final thing is I just feel like it's anti-experimentation. You don't get to actually experiment with your gear. I really wanted to test out haste as kind of the main focus on my stats on Demon Hunter. I started making a different Demon Hunter. Then I realized, wait, maybe I want to test out haste and mastery. And I realized I needed like a third Demon Hunter. And I immediately got discouraged from even leveling the second Demon Hunter to test out just to fully haste stack the Demon Hunter, how that would feel in PvP. So I feel like this is just anti-experimentation and anti-fun. And also I feel like it's one of those things that Blizzard just does because it's been done so... We've always done this way, so we have to keep still doing it this way. I feel like it's one of those things. Now, I can see a few arguments being made against this. First thing is probably people would talk about the tier set. People would be able to have like a 4 set earlier in PvE by doing PvP or something like that. I would counter that with the point that really just shows that we should have separate tier sets for PvP and PvE. Another thing that might be like an issue is maybe you would have more gear for PvE somehow. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I really don't think that would be again an issue because at this point I feel like the gear in PvE, you have so many different ways of actually acquiring it before even stepping into content, like actual like content. So I really think PvE players would have a problem with us PvP players having earlier gear compared to how we have it right now. But again, if I'm wrong, tell me down in the comments. I also don't feel the same about the Conquest boxes as I feel about the Conquest Cap. I feel like the Conquest boxes should be opened up later in the season. People should not just be able to play on their main and just transfer everything over. This is because you still have some new players or some people who want to enter the game, and you need to have kind of the lower geared lobbies, let's call them, or the gearing lobbies, let's call them, right? So I'm definitely not combining the Conquest Cap and the Conquest boxes together. I definitely think the Conquest Cap should be released earlier, and the Conquest boxes is really based on when the season kind of, you know, stagnates or whatever. But before I let you get on with the video, I do have to inform you that only 4.3% of you subscribed. So if you have been enjoying the content, please consider smashing that subscribe button. Now lately, YouTube is restricting most of my videos for some reason, maybe because of my potty mouth, but regardless, if you want to keep up with the current Mikadika content, do consider smashing that notification bell. Now I feel like I have to talk a little bit more about the tunings. I just feel like the main problem with the tunings is quality. Even right now, they were not tuning the game because they were having like the competitions going on, the tournaments going on. Well, that might be because they don't want the competitors to have to relearn anything or have to do anything about like playing a different spec than they were actually expecting to play, right, because of changes. I feel like that really just speaks to just how bad the quality of the tunings are. Even MVQ was talking about it on Twitter that they just need to have some kind of a better bracket for win rates and just a better bracket for understanding when a character is underpowered, overpowered, and such. I think he personally was using an example from League of Legends, but really in any case, they really need to get a hold on the tunings. The quality of the tunings is really lackluster. Sometimes the patch notes are really good and sometimes the patch notes are just not addressing the actual problem. This really goes both ways, both when something is underpowered, it can be underpowered for a very long time, and when something is overpowered, it can also be overpowered for a very long time. I mean, guys, let's be honest here, like we get still comments on my tuning videos talking about Demon Hunter, about people crying about Season 3 Dragonflight. Demon Hunter was overpowered in Season 3 for so long, for the entire season. These things should just never ever happen. If 2 weeks is too much for them, 3 weeks, I feel like maybe it should be what they try. Like 3-week patch notes every freaking 3 weeks. We have PvP tunings, because I feel like this is one of those things that keeps the game going in a PvP sense. It's one of those things that doesn't let things stagnate. It's one of those things that keeps things moving forward, changing things for you. It's when we have actually constant tunings and constant flow. So I just wanted to elaborate more why I'm not gonna make tuning videos that much or that often anymore, or only just address Demon Hunter or the main classes we enjoy on the channel. Because really the quality is bad, and every time I feel like I'm just ranting instead of making a happy video, right? I can't really be making a happy video and every time there's like 3 things missing. I also will be doing a little poll later in the day in the community post, so be sure to comment on it and give your vote. I'm trying to see what other games you peeps are interested in seeing, since I am quite feeling burned out with World of Warcraft right now. I don't think I'm interested in playing some PvE, and I'm definitely not a classic candidate, but I am waiting for classic mop if that comes. So we're just gonna be doing a little poll, seeing what games you guys enjoy. You're free to comment down on this video as well if there is any specific game you want to see me playing. I'm definitely leaning towards the MOBAs and maybe playing some of these single player titles that came out this year. I think it's also worthwhile to talk about what build is going to be best on Demon Hunter. I think definitely Aldrachi River, the damage over time build, as I kind of referred to it in my previous video. I'm going to put that video up so you can see it. I definitely think that build is getting the most buffed. First is because obviously it works with emulation aura, so any build that uses emulation aura is getting a little bit more buffed than other builds. But also Aldrachi River, I feel like is gonna benefit a lot more from those Demon Blades, Demon Bite buffs, and also the Fell Blade buffs. You're just gonna have a lot more Fell Blades with the increased attack speed that you have on Aldrachi River, and you're also doing more damage because you have increased attack speed. So the damage over time Aldrachi River build, as I like to refer to it, is definitely gonna be the best, I think, in my opinion, or looking the best to me. I mean, personally, I'm already playing that build mainly on Aldrachi River, so for me, it's like my favorite build is already straight up getting buffed. So obviously I'm gonna think that my favorite build is gonna be the best right now. And that's about it, peeps. Be sure to look out for the poll later in the day in the community posts. I really hope you've enjoyed this little video. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things YouTubers want you to do, and have a nice day.